Greetings. My name is Brett Gadsden, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Director of Undergraduate Studies in the History Department this academic year. What a year it's been. Zoom classes, social distancing, masks everywhere. And then vaccines and a growing light at the end of the tunnel of this global pandemic. We're not out of the woods yet. There are still big questions about how this will all play out. And there's lots of work that we still need to do collectively, both here in the US and around the world. But today, we've been gifted with opportunities to reunite with family and friends. And this year, our students have mustered their inner and communal resources to stay safe and productive in ways that has impressed us to no end. We, the history faculty of Northwestern University, can commend you for your dedication and fortitude. Congratulations, class of 2021. Each year, the History Department recognizes outstanding students with several different awards. And today, I have the pleasure of announcing this year's lists of award winners. Shanth Gopalswamy wins the award for the best history first-year seminar final paper. Gopalswamy's essay on art forgeries demonstrates a mature sense of playfulness. After explaining the primacy of originality in valuing Western art, the fetish of the new, Gopalswamy judiciously recounts famous examples of forgery to reveal the ways in which a purchaser's or critic's objectification of the aesthetic qualities of the forged pieces pushes aside questions of originality. These cultural and psychological elements of the argument unfold judiciously. Gopalswamy supplements the larger argument by introducing a counterexample. Art markets often suppress or distort information about the provenance and authorship of a given piece, hiding evidence of forgery or theft in the interest of a high sale price. Valuing original art is harder than it looks, but it doesn't stop people from thinking they can. The faculty also award the Joseph Barton Research Seminar Essay Award for the Best History 395 Research Seminar Final Essay. Miranda Chabot's essay, The Feminine Monarchy Abroad, the Honeybee as a Model for Indigenous Interactions in Colonial Massachusetts, is an impressively researched examination of the honeybee as a symbol of English colonialism. The essay opens with the words of an indigenous convert to Christianity in 1671, curiously referencing the sweetness of honey, something that North American bees did not produce. From there, Chabot narrates an original story, reflecting on the relationship between nature and empire. Quote, during the 17th century, the honeybee became synonymous with English culture and empire building, unquote, Chabot notes. In their creative telling, honeybees figure into ideas of monarchy, gender, and class hierarchies, Christian spirituality, and rationale for colonizing North America. As a number of small church parishes proliferated in New England, more churches meant more demand for wax, which was necessary for ceremonial candles. In time, the presence of honeybees in North America became cited as a symbolic marker of indigenous assimilation into English culture. The Hertz Foundation Undergraduate Scholarship in History is given annually to the strongest junior history major concentrating in American history. Jada Harding is an outstanding junior history major whose work is highly admired by numerous faculty in the department. Indeed, they received several nominations for the Hearst Prize from faculty working in a variety of fields and periods. Jada has been described as, quote, smart, original, and dedicated, pointing to their preference in the classroom, work as a Leopold Fellow, and experience as a docent at the Block Museum. Jada has opted to work on class projects that are centered on synthesizing and analyzing primary sources, has been characterized as a top-tier research assistant, and will soon be undertaking a senior thesis project. Jada Harding's capabilities as a historian have earned high praise from the department. The Wilkes Prize in African History, awarded for an outstanding undergraduate essay submitted as a course requirement in African history, goes to Andrew Moe, who published a video presentation titled Searching for Belonging, Contending with Cultural Assimilation and Preservation. Provides a nuanced exploration of European cultures of exclusion, focusing on the lives of migrants with an emphasis on Africans in Italy. In addition to providing an overview of the relevant scholarship, this project draws from a variety of sources to highlight individual experiences which paint a portrait of a wider phenomenon. Through the testimonies gathered in this project, one gains a clear understanding of debates surrounding multiculturalism in Europe and national anxieties regarding the maintenance of distinct identities. This presentation impressively speaks to how migrant nationalities can become a stigma, the political arguments for excluding migrants, the expectations of integration, media coverage, and the vitally important social networks that facilitate relationships with other migrants. We grant the Grace Douglas Johnson Award to the best senior honors thesis presented to the history department. This year, the prize will be shared by 2 students. In picturing Java woman visual representation of colonial paleoanthropology, Fiona Asokasita illustrates the history of the Java man, the supposed missing link between humans and apes, tracing the story from the discovery of a skull cap, molar, and femur at the end of the 19th century through representations of man the bones belong to through modern day. The visual representation of Java man were crucial to providing scientific hypotheses, though, as Asokasita shows, the representations were products of current ideas about race, gender, and colonization, not scientific evidence. Asokasita's thesis is notable for the skill in which the author handles its breadth, tying together the histories of science, anthropology, and art in diverse places from the end of the 19th century through the present. Joseph Rothke's Subversive Schools, Police Surveillance of Chicago Public Schools, 1967 to 1974, uncovers the history of Chicago Police Department's Red Squad's surveillance of public schools. The Red Squad employed a, quote, counter-subversive imagination, as Rothke terms it, that targeted not only political radicals, but also community attempts to shape their schools. Through an impressive amount of original archival research, Rothke demonstrates the local nature of surveillance infrastructure in the 1960s and 1970s, as the Red Squad surveilled young people, usually Black and Latino, who advocated to improve their schools. The Jacob Lasner Award for the best undergraduate essay in Jewish or Islamic civilization, written for any department or program, goes to Gabrielle Plotkin. Plotkin's thesis is a wonder of balance and analytical depth, and argues that a small group of American Jewish activists claimed the US environmental movement of the 1970s and 1980s by changing liturgical and festive events, highlighting sustainability and community. As a consequence, they revised, quote, Judaism for a politicized and assimilated community, unquote, by connecting salient issues of the day to Judaism's roots. The thesis examines not only the intellectual and organizational history of the movement, but also the struggles and victories of its makers. The argument rests on a range of primary and secondary written sources and 12 intensive interviews. Plotkin handles this variety of sources with unusual balance and sensitivity. What a really group of really talented scholars we have here. And final conclusions I'd like to just add. In a historical period when it appears that too many are intent as a matter of determined and organized action to engage in willful acts of forgetting, These essays remind us of the importance of history. They are representative of the work of the best and brightest students in our department and across the university. These scholars and their contributions serve as emblems of our community's deep commitments to the kinds of scholarly work that we need now more than ever. So thanks to you all for sharing your work and your great insights. Congratulations once again.